Welcome to the second installation of Putting Dr. G on the Spot. For the whole month of September, we're focusing on infections. And for a change, today we're focusing on women. And we're focusing on a condition called honeymoon cystitis. As the name suggests, honeymoon cystitis is a type of infection that occurs during the early phases of sexual intercourse, especially a woman during the debut of their first sexual intercourse. Why does it happen? In fact, nobody really knows, but it can be as common as 30% according to some studies. So, what is proposed is that perhaps a bacteria that usually line the outer layers of the vagina is being pushed into the bladder during sexual intercourse. And it tends to happen in the first 3 months of someone whenever they start having a very active sex life. In fact, most of the time, honeymoon cystitis can resolve by itself, but it can go on to up to 2 years following the sexual debut, and therefore it can be a little bit of a nuisance in a relationship. Imagine every time there's a sexual activity, then the woman started getting symptoms of burning sensation, unfrequent urination, painful urination, to some extent might even get temperature or even to the extent of bleeding in the urine. Honeymoon cystitis itself is actually not a sexually transmitted infection, because one will get really worried because after sexual activity you start getting this problem whether your partner is passing this infection to you. Contrary to common belief, honeymoon cystitis is actually caused the vast majority by a bacteria called E. coli. Apart from that, 80% caused by E. coli, 20% is caused by other bacteria such as Staphylococcus, Klebsiella, or even infection such as Pseudomonas. And all these infections are completely curable by antibiotics. So, to go and see a doctor, sometimes you don't even need your urine culture. We can give you antibiotics for a period of 3 to 5 days and tend to solve the problems. Next week, we're going to talk about repeated or recurrent urinary tract infection. As we know, urinary tract infection or UTI is so common in women. Whenever it happens on regular basis, how do you avoid it? And how do you minimize your risk of getting it after sexual intercourse? If you need to find out, stay tuned for next week's Putting Dr. G on the Spot.